Howdy, people. How you doing? Hope you're all having amazing days. For anyone watching this post, if you could possibly like the stream just so it gets pushed out to more people. And yeah, I'm not going to go into too much detail on the whole spiel about, what the services offer, just because I don't think the live streams actually do that much for that. I don't think anyone really cares. So I am just going to say that I am doing a waiting list for my emails now. If you didn't see my community post earlier, basically with the explosion of the channel, as you may have noticed, we're now on 7,000 subscribers. So thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. But because of the explosion of the channel, 7,019, I was going backwards for you. Because of the explosion of the channel, as I've tried to say about 4 times now, massive influx of clients as well. So I'm putting a waiting list on the emails just because I don't want the quality of the coaching and the quantity of responding to drop just because I'm trying to get through everyone. Oh, thank you. Oh, I don't know why it's not that's my drink. So there is a waiting list on the emails now. At the moment, it's only about a week, but yeah, that's that. Don't think there's anything else really to go through. But yeah, so I'm just going to start getting into bits, I suppose, unless if I've missed anything, people remind me. So Sar says hi, howdy. H says hey Matt, howdy, and then he also said just start, but I said no because I was waiting for closer to the time for everyone else to be in. No. And then he said, Matt, how do I get over the stage of yes, it's possible to the stage of it's with me? When you find yourself thinking about yes, it's possible, in those moments, just try to remind yourself, yes, it's with me. Literally just the state of awareness, if you place your awareness on something different, you'll get more of that something different. So if you notice, oh, I'm thinking, yes, this is possible. Now it's time to start moving on to the yes, it's with me stage by telling yourself it is with you. The more that you do this, the more that you'll start to create that wiring.
Oh, sorry.
Cat better. The more you'll start
on the end of my knee.
The more that you'll be able to start creating that wiring that is with you, and then that will become your dominant thoughts. And then you also say, is it normal that after a while I have more interest in other manifestations? And then you said, yeah, just asking now for you to answer in stream. Yeah, so it is actually quite common, yeah, especially when working on self-concept. Quite often before you start working on self-concept, you can be very in need of one particular desire. But then when you work on building up your sense of self-worth and stuff like that, and kind of what you feel you deserve, then yes, quite often the things that you thought were such big things to begin with don't turn out to be as big, and then you kind of your desires start to grow with you quite often. So yes, it is normal, and that is the culprit that bit Katie.
Yes, she wants to get on my lap, but she instead just kept biting my knee, so that was fun.
Jordan Strang says, hey Matt and Katie, looks like I'm early again, hope you're both well. I'm very well, thank you. How are you? And obviously
I'm good.
Yeah, and yeah, glad to have you here, Jordan. Thanks for showing up early. Hey, you're beautiful says, hi everyone, howdy. H says, come on Matt, or Matt, come on, don't tease us. Well, I've started now, so there's no more teasing. Tori says, hi, howdy. Desiree says, I love Katie.
Thank you.
Marianne Russell says, hi Matt, I hope you're well. I am very well, thank you. I hope you're well too. I have seen a lot of movements lately, such as him texting me and him telling me he is done with the third party, but then also texting me that he can't do it because he will end up cheating. And he was texting me saying his girlfriend wants to see our messages and told me to delete them. Then he ended up blocking me. I don't know if that is good or bad. There's no point assigning anything negative towards anything. And if it's a bad situation in the 3D, there's not much point in really trying to work it out. The only times I ever really say to put focus on anything negative is to find your core beliefs so that you can move past them if you feel like you need to move past them. Obviously, as I've said in previous videos, core beliefs are there because they're as you are currently. So if you core beliefs and assumptions and stuff and limitations are things you have in place now because you are who you are, using whatever experience has come up in the past to dictate your thoughts now. Whereas in your end result, those things would have shifted automatically, or they wouldn't be in alignment with what you are living from. So therefore they can't exist. So I do recommend you going straight to the end result if you can. But obviously, if you feel like you need to work on some negative stuff, then work on it. But when it comes to like a 3D circumstance of something bad happening, there's not really much point trying to work out why or what it means. Just let it pass and then focus on something good or assign a positive meaning toward it. So you could assign the meaning that him blocking you is a good thing because it's going to allow you the time to live in the end effectively without having the constant hot and cold or anything negative. But yeah. So Carolina says, hello. Howdy, Carolina.
Hello.
Kiati says, I'm living as if I'm the main character of my life and I'm getting huge amounts of movement and my SP is reflecting it back. Also, hello to you both. Hello to you too. And that's really good to hear. I'm really happy to hear that you're stepping into that main character role. You're the protagonist of Kiati's life. Sar says, can the belief of not being good enough overflow with not feeling good enough to be with SP right now before a job is secured, and how to overcome it? Can the belief of not being good enough overflow with not feeling good enough to be with SP right now before a job is secured, and how to overcome it? I'm not 100% sure what you mean in terms of can the belief of not being good enough overflow with not feeling good enough with SP right before a job? Do you mean you need the job to then feel good enough to be able to get SP, or can you reword that slightly, just because I don't fully know what your question is? So obviously I don't want to give you some sort of rambling answer and it not be anything that you want to hear. So yeah, if you could just reword that slightly just so that I can pick it up a bit better. I'm stupid. Marianne Russell says, I'm not thinking about anything negative because I believe this is a sign of movement. Okay, that's a good thing for sure. And then you also say, and yes, that is what I've done. I've just kept calm and let the whole thing fly over my head, basically. So I just forget about it, lol. That's what I would do in your situation. So congratulations for being able to do that yourself. I think that's very good. A lot of people would probably end up spiraling in that situation. So I think you've done well there. Becca Dempsey says, hi both. Howdy, howdy. I just thought
Sorry.
no, it's fine. And she did say hi both anyway, so I interrupted. Hi both. I just thought I'd say thank you so much for the coaching I've had with you. I'm feeling positive and in a completely new mindset. You're the best. Well, thank you very much for the kind words. I really do appreciate them. And I'm glad the coaching is making a difference for you so far. I really can't wait to hear your success stories and hopefully be able to post it one day if you allow me to when it comes. So I'm glad to have you here as well in the live stream. Marianne says, I was going to spiral, but I stopped myself and just thought, no point, because this wouldn't happen in the end result. Absolutely. That's one thing that everyone needs to remember. Because, yeah, in your end result, negative things either wouldn't exist or they would exist in very, very small quantities. There's no need for us to put any kind of meaning on it. So you've done great there. Collab with Amy from Illuminating Joy. That's actually quite an interesting one, because when I first got into manifestation, or not when I first got into it, but when I was still learning it, she was actually one of the people that I quite enjoyed watching. That at the time, I don't know if she's any big now because I haven't watched it, but she seemed quite small. I suppose somewhat same to my channel, whereas like a lot of people like watching me, but I'm still a relatively small channel. So that's actually quite an interesting one. I will have a look into that. Marianne says, how are you both anyway? Did you have a good day? Yeah, we're quite good. We went swimming earlier because we haven't got the kids today. So we thought we'd go and do something that is fun with the kids, but more fun without them. So we went swimming earlier, and then we went for like a nice lunch, did a couple of errands. I did a video call. Katie played, what was it? House Flipper?
Yeah.
A game on the Xbox.
We also played
we finished the first Borderlands games because Katie's never played them, so I'm going through the Borderlands games with her because they are arguably one of the best like game franchises in my opinion. So yeah, overall it's just been like a really nice relaxing day.
It's been lovely.
Yeah, so hopefully yours was too. Ellen Seng says, hello, howdy Ellen, glad to have you here. Sarah says, yes, basically, I can't help but feel that until I get my job, I'm not good enough to get my relationship, because in the past I was jobless and that was my insecurity that I couldn't find a job. Okay, so that makes a lot of sense. However, are they actually linked? Like, can you feel, not necessarily you specifically, because obviously I know you're dealing with the circumstance in reality, but objectively, can someone be good enough for a relationship without having a job? Does not having a job actually direct the love that one can provide for an individual or the relationship that people can have? Obviously, yes, I understand that they are a bonus, but can they be something that outright stops you from being in a committed relationship? Is something that I would ask yourself, and then obviously work on it from there. And I see that you put another thing. So, and I don't know how to separate the two, because he doesn't care, but for some reason I'm putting pressure on myself to appear successful. Okay, I get that. So first off, like I said, are they actually linked? Not just in terms of your situation, but in general, are they actually linked? I would be inclined to say no. There's quite a lot of people that are either jobless or refuse to work and still have relationships. The second thing is, one thing that I would recommend trialing to do in your situation is to start to understand your worth as someone in a relationship. So I know you're probably looking at it objectively to say, I don't have a job, therefore I'm not good enough. But what are you good enough in? There must be some things that you can name, as in like just a couple of examples. I make really nice dinners, so every time he comes from home, he can have like a really nice like nutrient dinner. Or I'm really good at, I don't know, what do people even want in relationships? I'm really good at making him laugh or something. So if he's had a stressful day, he can come home and we can have like a nice laugh together. Stuff like that. Start working on building up what you actually do offer in a relationship and take it from there. The more that you start to do that, the more that you'll start to realize your worth within a relationship. And even if you don't get a job, you'll still be able to say, yeah, but look, I can like cook amazing meals. I'm really funny. I'm really good at making sure he's got all the things that he needs for work, or I'm really good at making sure that he feels a certain way, feels loved. I'm a good listener. Like just things that you actually do in a relationship to build up that element of, yep, I'm worthy of this without a job. And then obviously start working on the job front to kind of add to that. Hopefully that will kind of remove some of that, separate the two of them. You'll realize just how worthy you are with or without a job. And then if you get a job, that's a bonus sort of thing. H said, there is always choice. Yeah, there is always a choice in any kind of situation. It's very rare that you don't have a choice. Some choices might not be good. It might be a lesser of two evils, but there is always a choice. Marianne says, also, happy Mother's Day for Katie tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah, I actually didn't get her anything from the kids this time. I've been so busy with work that I haven't had the chance. That's so, thanks, Marianne, for bringing that up. H, yeah, no, I'll get her something. But H says there is so H is there is always a choice, and then says when it comes to spiral, yeah, absolutely. Like you always have the choice. Do you go with it or do you kind of separate yourself from it? Obviously, there are some people that are still on their journey trying to figure it out and how they can make that choice. But absolutely, there is always a choice. You never have. There's a thing from the TV show Suits, which is something I really like, and it's like even if someone's got your back against the wall, there's still options. You can either break the wall down or take the gun off of them. It's like the idea that there's always an option. You're never actually out of options. We laughing at.
Oh, one of the comments.
Oh, okay, I'll get to
it. I keep an eye on the comments as they come in to make sure that they're not like bots or anything like that. So
yeah,
it just made me chuckle.
Oh, okay.
I know you said jiggle. Jiggle.
Itachi says, hello, bro. Love from India. I follow you. You are doing great, bro. Thank you very much. Glad to have you here. Dev Priya says, hello. Howdy.
Hello.
Give me your teeth. Says, hi, you both. Hope you're doing well. I brought your 20 custom affirmations recently. You're the first coach I've ever bought anything from. I can't wait to see what affirmations you suggest. Thank you very much for purchasing my service. I'll be getting back to my emails after this, so you'll probably end up receiving those 20 affirmations at some point within this evening, if not early morning tomorrow, because it depends on how long it takes for me to get through them, because there's a lot. If I take a day off, I tend to get very far behind, so I have to be constantly doing emails.
I was going to say, if he takes 2 hours off, then he's like, 24 emails. Crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of email clients. That's why I'm having to put a waiting list on. If we could all like the stream as well, it just gets it pushed out to more people, and that would be really helpful. Lady R says, hi, Matt and Katie. Love seeing you again, or lovely seeing you again. Howdy, Lady R. Glad to have you here.
Hey.
Asuna says, some coach on TikTok told me that it's either him or someone better to me. I mean, I only want him, so I don't care about the better. Also, do you not focus on SP? I'm confused. So obviously by some coach on TikTok, I don't know who you're referring to, so they might have different like sort of ways of operating. However, you can go with either him or someone better if you want to, but again, you don't have to. And I know obviously you said there that you only want him and you don't care about better, so that's absolutely fine if you don't want to do that. The idea of not focusing on SP, I think, is a bit of a silly notion. Like, yes, if you're focusing on self-concept and stuff, you can still have them end up coming back. But quite often, where your focus goes, energy flows. So if you have someone specific in mind, still focus on them. I do recommend employing the Kim Velez 80-20 rule. Just if you're working on self-concept at the same time, which is 80% on self-concept, the other 20% on them. Because like there's no reason why you shouldn't focus on your desire. Don't get obsessed with your desire, absolutely, but there's no reason why you can't focus on your desire. Luck the Awesome, apologies if I said that wrong, says, hey Matt, love the channel, thank you very much. It's been a real help. I feel like the universe led me to you. Can a deep fear you were unaware of manifest? Is that linked to your self-concept? So thank you for the kind words. And a deep fear that you're unaware of. So I don't know what entirely you mean by unaware of. Is it sort of like something that you haven't consciously come to terms with? Is that what you mean? Because I feel like if you're scared of something, you're probably aware that you're quite scared. Like I wouldn't kind of like look at heights and go, ah, and then go, why am I going without realizing it's a fear, if that makes sense. But quite often that will more than likely be, it depends on the fear itself, but that will be a self-concept issue. For example, if you have a fear that your person's going to leave you for someone else, just as an example, that often would be a self-concept issue because you're thinking that there are other people out there better than me, which is obviously then you saying I'm not good enough. So quite often fears of this nature do stem from some form of self-concept. Obviously, there is always exceptions to the rule. Off the top of my head, I can't think of anything right now, but I'm not going to sit here and say that every fear is a self-concept thing. But if it's a fear, and you find it constantly coming up, you're probably going to be aware of it. So I'd be inclined to say that if you're unaware of a fear, it probably won't manifest, because if you're unaware of it, it must not be happening all that much for you to experience. But fears, if you allow them to run rampant, will have the possibility to manifest. Yeah. Marianne says, I mean, the kids are the greatest gift, I guess.
You haven't met them.
Yeah, you haven't met them.
No, they are.
Sarah says, that makes sense, actually. I'm just going to move on. Sarah says, that makes sense, actually, because I can provide a lot for my relationship, and it shouldn't matter if I have a job right now. Going to work on that. Thank you so much. You're very welcome. I'm glad to help. Lady R says, does having a bad day or a few bad days mess up your manifestation? It was my late mum's birthday yesterday, and 2 days were tough for me. So having bad days in general, if they're not related to the desire, don't really make a difference. This angle's like really strange.
Yeah, I was gonna say I feel so far away. But okay.
Bad days in general don't really make much of a difference. Like if I have like a spiral about money for whatever reason, and then it's not really going to affect my specific person manifestation, or if I have a really bad day at work, as long as I don't come home and start taking it out on Katie, it's not really going to affect my like relationship. It's not going to sort of have any negative things. If you're having a bad day in regards to a specific desire, it's not the worst case scenario. But if you allow it to go on for like days, weeks, like really getting negative, then it may have an effect. But often just having general bad days doesn't make that much of a difference. And we are all human, and it's the dominant state that manifests. So having a bad day or a bad couple of days is quite normal. Everyone has them. So even if you've had it, I would worry less about, not to say, oh, I understand why you're worried, but I would worry less about, oh, did I do something wrong? And more about, okay, right, I've had my bad period of time. I've kind of gotten over it. Obviously, I know in your circumstance, you're probably not going to get over it like immediately, but in general, this is what I'm talking about. So you're like, okay, I've had my bad days. Let me just get back on that horse and carry on going and focus more on what you're about to accomplish, as opposed to, the things that you might have done wrong. But I think a couple of bad days is not the worst case scenario. But if it's in regards to the specific topic, so you've had a bad time with relationships, for example, and relationship is your main desire, then it may have an impact depending on how long you were sitting in that state. But just try not to worry about what you've accidentally done and focus on what you can do instead.
I think it's super important as well not to sit there and dwell in the idea that having a bad thought here and there is going to ruin everything, because then it will ruin everything. If you sit there going, oh, it's going to ruin this, it's going to ruin it, it's going to, and every time you think about it, oh, well, I've thrown it all away already, I've ruined it, sort of thing, then it will, because you're sitting in the state of, oh, it's already ruined kind of thing. So I think actually just telling yourself that, no, I've had a bad day, or I've had 4 bad days in a row, but I know for a fact that nothing can go wrong because I'm back on it. I know this, I know that, sort of thing. Like, pep yourself up, like give yourself like a, because everybody has bad days, and if it ruined everything, then no one would ever create anything, because everybody always has bad thoughts. So I think, just remind yourself that it hasn't ruined everything, and you know what you're doing, and you can carry on as normal, and you've got it, sort of thing.
Absolutely. Give Me Your Tea says, no rush, Matt. I can imagine you've got loads on your plate. You popped up on my feed and I resonated with you a lot, so I bet many others did too. I will still try to get through to you. Like, I know many people say, it's okay, take your time, but I do like to try and be as as efficient as I can. But yeah, at the moment with the blow up of the channel over the past couple of weeks, it has been a massive influx, and I'm definitely trying to get through them. But I'll do what I can to get back to you sort of as soon as. But yeah, thank you for being understanding. I am says, hello guys, I'm really happy to see the YouTube family growing. Howdy, and thank you very much. Quick question, what a mental diet plan should consist of? Is it only avoiding negative thoughts? So mental diet is sort of like, I like to, obviously for obvious reasons, consider it to be similar to an actual diet. So in an actual diet, it's not the best to eat like, junk food and stuff, but can they be fitted in? Yeah, you can. If your diet is kind of on point, you can fit them in. So the idea of like trying to catch, of like avoiding negative thoughts or catching every negative thought is almost unrealistic. Just like the idea of an actual diet, sitting there eating only lettuce is also unrealistic. I mean, some people do it, but I don't believe they're actually happy. So it's a very similar thing. So it's not about avoiding negative thoughts. It's not about catching and flipping every thought. It's about just being aware of what you are thinking and trying to consciously remind yourself of your end result and what flipping these thoughts will do for you in the moment, and to not give them too much power. Just like a normal diet, for example, it's easier to just And where was I going with that point? Just like in a normal diet, there will be instances where you are presented with stuff. So you may be presented with going out for dinner and all of your friends are getting like a dessert. Similar thing with your mental diet. There'll be times when negative thoughts just come up, or you may be presented with a negative circumstance and you can't really control what's happened, but you can control the decision you make. So it's less about trying to fight it and more just about knowing what you should and shouldn't be consuming and aiming to consume the best for you. If you have a negative thought, don't worry about it. Don't feel like you've messed up your diet. Just simply allow it to pass, flip the thought, do whatever you feel comfortable with, and then go on forward. Try to just remember it's all about what you consume and trying the best to consume what's best for you. But it doesn't mean you have to be perfect. We all have bad days. We all have days where we consume more negative thoughts than we should. That's okay. Just remind yourself what you're doing it for, like what you're doing your positive work for. Get back on the horse and then keep going. H says, I don't believe in Oh, I hate it when YouTube skips. I say this every stream. H says, I don't believe in SP or better because it comes from lack of self-belief. That's an interesting point. Could you elaborate on that a little bit more? Obviously, I'll get round to it in a bit, but could you elaborate kind of where that comes from? Because the way that I perceive SP or better is kind of just like I'm not attached to this specific person, which is why I could have them or better. But I'd like to hear your views on that. Jesus Genobi. Oh, it's been a long time. Howdy, Jesus Genobi. Hey guys, how are you doing? Can you please tell me why is my SP not conforming? Can you help me to see my blockage for me to manifest it? And what does it mean to let go of our desire? So first off, doing very well, thanks. Hope you're doing good. So it's hard for me to tell you why your SP is not conforming because obviously I haven't been working with you per se. The only thing I can think of is potential wavering. If you're everything right?
Yeah, sorry, I just got a message.
Oh, you seem like very shocked all of a sudden.
Yeah, it was something from my dad, and it's a bit rambly, so
Oh,
I'll read it in a minute. It's fine.
But so it's difficult to say why your SP isn't conforming because obviously I haven't been working with you. However, one thing that I will say is this something that you've kind of been noticing for a while? Have you been noticing they're not conforming and then kind of wondering, why are they not conforming? Because if so, obviously noticing the lack of what you want is just the same as saying I don't have my thing. So that's about as far as I can give you based on your message alone. Obviously, if you want to give me more of the information further down, I can maybe go a bit deeper into it. But based on that message alone, it's very difficult for me to tell you why they're not conforming. But often in this kind of incidents, it will be consistent wavering, over associating with the negative, looking for results, be outcome dependent, could potentially be any of those things. And then you say, what does it mean to let go of our desire? So I'm not 100% sure where people keep hearing this letting go of our desire. Whenever I say it, I don't know if you've got it from my channel or someone else, but whenever I say it, I don't think I've ever said let go of your desire. I say let go of the need for your desire. And what this means is you can still desire it, but you aren't in need of it. Like you don't like need this to happen or else kind of thing. It's kind of like yes, I would like this. That would be great, but I don't need it. Just kind of like, how can I explain this? So it's like, I don't know. I can't think of an example. Like, let's say, for example, like you're on your way home and your partner's meant to be cooking dinner. You want it, you're expecting it, but when you get home, if it's not cooked, is it the end of the world? No, you just simply move on, cook your own dinner, go about your day. That's what I mean. Instead, most people have this thing where it's like, oh my God, my dinner's not cooked. That's it, burn the house down. It's letting go of the need of the desire. I don't know where people keep hearing this let go of our desire because where your focus goes, energy flows. Where you place your awareness dominantly is what you'll get. So if you're like removing your attention from it entirely forever, then yes, there obviously could potentially still come back because of any of previous work that you've done could have played out now. But I don't know why people keep saying to just let go of the desire. If you don't want to let go of the desire, don't. Just let go of the need of the desire. Summer says, hey Matt, hey Katie, howdy, howdy. Sarah says, should I affirm no matter if I have a job or not, I'm ready to receive my relationship and I'm good enough no matter what? So I would maybe affirm more so the I am good no matter what, or I'm good enough no matter what. The reason being, when you say, when you say, if I have a job or not, I am ready to receive my relationship, that targets your specific situation, but it's kind of re-establishing the idea that you don't have this job, which is not necessarily a problem in and of itself. If you're saying whether I've got this or not, I can still have a relationship, but I'm assuming you want that job. So therefore you might as well focus on having the job as well as no matter what I have my person, or no matter what I'm in this relationship with my person, just because you want to have as much focus as you can place on that end result. And saying no matter if I have a job or not, it kind of is keeping you in the awareness that you're currently in of I don't have it, which is why I need to say no matter whether I do or don't. So They're both fine, but that's just something that I would recommend, just because I would personally focus on having everything I want, as opposed to the lack of not having what I want, or as opposed to not having the lack of what I want. If that makes sense. I think I worded that right. By the way, if you want to go for those, they are fine. But I would think to take it that one like notch higher and just say, no matter what, I'm good enough and I have my job. But you're on the right path there. Verge says, I know I should focus on the end result, but would it be okay to manifest contact with SP when it is too much resistance living in the end result when there isn't even contact? So the thing with this kind of instance, and then you say, or should I still focus on the end result no matter what? So in my opinion, experience, and what I find works best with my clients, go straight to the end result always and only focus on that end result. Because what's happening is you keep asking, or I say keep, you've asked here, should I manifest the contact, which puts me in that perspective that you're looking at your phone saying still no contact, still no contact, still no contact, and not trusting in your end result enough to say it's going to come because I'm focusing on this end result. If that's the kind of perspective that you're having on it, how can you expect either A, the contact, because you're looking at it from the perspective of I don't have it, and B, the result of the end result, because you're looking at contact saying still no text. And if you're saying still no text, then that must mean that you're not having faith in your end result. So I would recommend go straight to the end result and only focus on that end result and allow everything to be worked out for you. And the reason why I say that is because even if you get that text, even if you're focused on text and you get that text, there's no guarantee without sort of staying vigilant with your thoughts and all of that kind of stuff that you're going to get the next step. So many people have these experiences where they say, I want communication. And then it'll be communication in the form of come pick up your stuff, or it'll be a communication in the form of happy birthday. And that's all they hear, or something along those lines, because all they're focusing on is communication, and that can come in the form of anything. So I would recommend going straight to the end result. But if you feel like you really can't, I would at least, if you're going to do communication, imply that you have your end result through communication, i.e., I'm in loving communication with my partner person, or I've received a loving text from person. And that might at least help you get that kind of communication that is more in line with what you want to experience. Because if you get a text saying, pick up my stuff, or pick up your stuff, or happy birthday, and nothing more, that's probably going to knock you back, because everyone thinks that getting the text is what they want. And then when they get a text that they don't want or isn't in line with what they do want fully, then they end up spiraling and why is this not going anywhere? So try to be vigilant on that. But if you're going to do the middle steps, try to do them in the best way that benefits you the most. But I would recommend the end result. Gaming H says, hi guys, how are you? Very good, thank you. How are you? One question, how could I sleep with the feeling that my dream has come true? I always fall asleep trying. I couldn't make it. So you could always kind of do it beforehand, because if you can get yourself, let's say, for example, you go to bed at 11 and you usually fall asleep by 11:05, maybe at 11:45, start trying to do your process to try and fall asleep to it. If you fall asleep while doing it, because obviously you started it early, so hopefully you won't fall asleep doing it because it's not your normal sort of going to sleep time. You might still sort of be awake enough to get all the way through before falling asleep. Hopefully then you'll get far enough through it to be able to then fall asleep, or you'll finish it, but because you're still not tired, you'll kind of come out of your, like, whatever it is that you're doing. I'm assuming visualization, if you're trying to fall asleep to it, feeling good, feeling in the end state, and then you can go to sleep still in that state, because you'll be in it when you do a technique, and hopefully you won't have many opposing thoughts taking you out of it when you choose to actually go to sleep. You'll kind of still hopefully feel that good feeling kind of resonating, and you'll kind of feel still in that state of the wish fulfilled. But if you feel like you can't make it, then maybe start it a little bit earlier, or that's basically it. Like, start it a little bit earlier, I'd say, maybe, and try to really feel into it, and then just go to sleep like normal. Or listen to like affirmation tapes or something while you're sleeping, or subliminals. That might help. Ang Schumann says, what if my SP is saying she is not willing to get into a relationship? Then what should I do? Go to the end result. That's obviously your 3D playing out based on old thoughts and stuff. It's undesired situations that you don't want to experience. And in your end result, they wouldn't matter. In your end result, you would be in a committed relationship with her. Or with them, sorry. Did you specify? Oh yeah, she said she. So you would be in that end result with her. So because of that, whatever you experience now that isn't in alignment with it means absolutely nothing, and there's no need putting your attention on it. So let those thoughts about it come and go, and then focus on your end result, and only focus on that end result. Ashley Lewis says, do you trust binaural waves / beats for manifesting? So I've never used them I can't say I've never used them. I've used them in the past, and I don't really remember. Because I know that like I've seen some that have been like just binaural beats and they've not been like subliminal based, or at least it hasn't said it. So I can't say for sure because I don't remember the ones that I have listened to and the ones that I got successes out of them with. So that's more of like a, I suppose if you want to test them, try them for yourself. I know subliminals work, but I'm pretty sure subliminals, I might be wrong here, so correct me if I'm wrong. I am wrong, people, but I'm pretty sure subliminals, not in all cases, go under binaural beats / waves. I might be wrong there. I don't even know if the app that I use does. I haven't actually looked into it. So let me have a little look sees, because otherwise I've just made myself look like an absolute tool. No, they're, oh no, binaural beats, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the app that I actually use does use binaural beats. So if that's the case, then yes, I do trust them. I've never actually read the descriptions fully. I kind of just go, masculinity, click. But so if that's the case, then yes, I do trust them because the app that I use states in the description of them that they do. So yeah, there you go. I don't know about YouTube though, because the only ones that I knew that I'd used before I literally just checked then were on YouTube. And sometimes you have to be a bit hit or miss. I've had good success with subliminals and stuff on YouTube, but I don't know if they were specifically binaural beats and waves and stuff. Because I didn't look that far. I just saw money subliminal and clicked. A very simple person, trust me. Lady R says, okay, thanks. You're very welcome. Gagan Deep, apologies if I said that wrong. Thank you for amazing videos, Matt. You both make a lovely couple. You're very welcome, and thank you for the kind words. Roki, apologies if I said that wrong. Hi, Matt. Your channel was great. Thank you very much. Can we manifest living in another country and also marriage without SP, even if he lives so far in another country? Yes, absolutely. In your end result, in the marriage, you'll be with them and probably in the same country, I'm assuming. So if you go straight to the end result, the middle of, getting together or like getting the marriage as well as moving will all be worked out for you. So yes, you absolutely can. In order for your statement or visualization or whatever to be true of I'm living in X country, that must mean that you're there, and therefore your subconscious mind just gets to work making it happen. So yes, you absolutely can. Luck the Awesome says that makes sense to the fear. Basically, me and SP had a great great time building up, well, etc. Then 2 days later, it went wrong. It felt like a nightmare. Like it was so surreal and out of the blue. Oh, fucking YouTube skipped again. This happened last month. I didn't think I thought of the fear that much. That makes sense to the fear because me and SP had great time building up, well, etc. So is it okay? So 2 days later it went wrong. It felt like a nightmare. Are you sure it was like surreal and out of the blue? This isn't to say that I don't trust you. It's just for the sake of. Are you sure there wasn't any kind of thoughts of wavering? You said you didn't think you felt the fear that much. So when you think back at it, are you able to identify? I know you say surreal, so I'm going to assume your answer is no, but our life is created by us. So are you sure you wasn't wavering a little bit more than maybe you thought, or maybe there was elements of, this isn't going to work out? Is there anything that you can attribute it to? Because
I think that's what they're saying. I think they're saying that what you said earlier about the fear and how like the fear that the fear that they felt is what made it happen, sort of thing. And that's why it felt so surreal, because they didn't realize at the time that they were in fear.
Oh yeah, because I said I didn't think I thought of the fear that much.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's just saying that he's like, they're confused about like, I didn't think I thought it that much, so why did it happen?
Oh, we have both read that completely differently.
Yeah. Apologies.
I
don't particularly have like a direct answer based on what we've spoken about so far in this live stream. The only thing that I can sort of say is to maybe really like sit with it and really dig deep to say, was I having more fears than I thought? Did I waver a lot? Because it can also come in the form of just normal thoughts as well. You could have just had thoughts about like, oh, like this might not go well, or XYZ things. So I can't say for sure based on what you said. It's very difficult for me to give answers to people when they're adamant that they didn't do something like that could have like caused it. So yeah, maybe if you give some more information, we can go deeper into it. But at this current moment in time, I don't really have like a concrete answer for you. Lady R says, you are so right, Katie. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Sar says, how do you embody the person who is loved and a priority? Is it certain actions I have to take to be it, or repeating I am affirmations to myself? So embodying the state, ask yourself, if I was someone who was loved and a priority, how would I think, feel, and act? And then consciously think, feel, and act in that way. What kind of things would I be thinking? Okay, I'd be thinking about how everyone in my life seems to prioritize me. And then I think those thoughts about how I'm prioritized. Oh, look, my person did this thing. Oh, look, my mum bought me a drink from the shop. See, I'm such a priority. Just silly little examples. How would I be feeling? Well, I wouldn't be feeling unsure and insecure. I'd be feeling calm and confident. So consciously try to feel those things. Tell yourself that's the case. And actions, how would I feel if I was a priority? I can't think of any actions off the top of my head, but kind of sit with yourself and ask yourself, if I was this end result, how would I be thinking, feeling, and acting? And then try to consciously think like that. If you struggle to just consciously think like that, that's where the affirmations and the techniques can come in, because they're more structured ways to think thoughts, and to get yourself to be like repeating something to get yourself into that end state. But that is essentially it. Just ask yourself, how would someone in that end result operate? And then either try to operate that way or claim to yourself that you are that way.
I was just going to say, I think like certain actions, if you wanted examples of it, would be things like saying to people, oh, come over, because obviously they're going to prioritize you over what they, wanted to do that day. Or, I find it quite difficult because most people don't really come to me. A lot of people expect me to go to them. And so like when I would be flipping the thoughts and being like, no, I am people's priority, I'd say to them, oh, you come in, like, oh, why can't I talk? Oh, you come here, like rather than me, traveling half an hour over to your house sort of thing. Oh yeah, you come to me today sort of thing. And those would be the actions that I take to make myself feel more prioritized. And yeah, I think that's one example at least. I don't know why I can't talk. I'm going to go get another drink. Would you like one?
No, I'm right, thanks. Asuna says, I mean, I feel like my SC is better, self-concept, for those of you that don't know, is better than how it used to be. And I agree working on self-concept is important, but is there a need to let go of the desire of SP in order to get it? No, you don't need to let go of the desire. Like I said, you only need to let go of the need for a desire. I think you can still focus on your desire. My job that I manifested by continuously and consistently affirming for it. Katie, I I did all of my techniques and stuff. The day before, I said, if I get it, great. If I don't, it is what it is. And that's letting go of the need for it. That wasn't letting go of Katie. That was just letting go of the need for her. Well, the success stories of my own could I use as reference. The big client that I got a couple of months ago, if you watched my manifestation successes, I started to consciously say to myself over and over, I have this amount. I have had things come back in when I've kind of like forgotten about it, but I've never had to let go of a desire in order to get it, if that makes sense. All of my biggest desires have come through me living from the end and staying committed to that end result and letting go of the need for the desire. Hey, You're Beautiful says, I've started working with a therapist to figure out, I've started working with a therapist to figure out what my dominant state is, who I'm being. There is a lot of parallels between my mum and SP. I'm excited for this new journey. That's really good. I look forward to hearing all the amazing things that come out of it. Roki says, I listened to a subliminal that SP texted me, and that night I saw a dream he texted me. Is this a sign? Absolutely. If you feel like it's a sign, by all means. If you feel like a dream is kind of you impressing your subconscious mind, then see it as such.
I think it's definitely a sign that the subliminal's working. Like, because the idea of the subliminal is that it's forcing you to think about something, sort of thing.
It's impressing your subconscious mind underneath the hood, so to speak.
So, like, for it to then pop up into your like conscious dream type thing, I think it's good proof that it's like working in the background.
Yeah. Val says, how do you maintain the feeling/emotion of a wish fulfilled over an extended period of time? This was easy at the beginning, now just numb to it. So quite often I think it's not irrational or illogical or unlikely, but I feel like as humans, because our state fluctuates all the time, you could be scrolling through like Instagram or TikTok, you'll see like a really nice cat video and you'll laugh. Then you'll see a video about someone going missing for some reason that seems to pop up on everyone's feed all the time. And then you get sad about it. So I think our states constantly fluctuate anyway. And I think it's less about trying to maintain it over a long period of time and more about trying to redirect yourself back to it when you find yourself falling out of it. Because I'll be honest, outside of doing my affirmations or doing my think, feel, and act process, this is obviously for me personally. Some people may disagree. And if you disagree, by all means, put it in the comments. But outside of doing my sort of regular techniques and stuff, I don't go along feeling like, oh yeah, I am the big I am, like I have to redirect my focus back to it to go, oh yeah, money's doing well. Or, oh yeah, my relationships are doing well. And then I go about my day and then I think about my relationships on money and I go, oh yeah, these are all the amazing things. And I put myself back into it. So I think if you're in that state, I wouldn't worry too much. I would just say try to redirect focus back to it and maintain it for as long as you can in the moment. And then once you're distracted or once you're done maintaining it because you're focusing on something else, which I suppose is the same as distraction, don't worry about it. Then when you find yourself thinking about it again, redirect focus back to it. Because we, as humans, we just fluctuate all the time anyway. So I think it's unrealistic to try and expect ourselves to stay in the state for an extended period of time. Redirecting focus back to it is a lot more realistic. Nico says, I was told by a coach that when I revise, I need to revise as the dominant version of myself so I can respond the way I want when it plays out in the 3D. How do I know that I have revised as the ideal me? So I'm assuming what they mean based on what you said is that, like, if you're revising a situation, you need to think how you wanted it to go from the perspective of your end result instead. If I think that's what they mean. And that's more just the case of ask yourself, what would my desired version have experienced back then? And then try to revise it through that way instead. Instead of wanting it to be changed based on what you want right now, think of it how your end result would have wanted it to change. I can't think of an example so I can make sense of that.
So if, for example, I had one and then it went. So somebody said to you, oh, well, you're never going to get your person. So you wouldn't, in the revision, say, of course I will. You would say, I am with my person.
That's normal revision. I think he means, I don't fully understand what that coach has said. So I was told by a coach that when I revise, I need to revise as the dominant version of myself so I can respond the way I want when it plays out in the 3D. How do I know that I have revised as the ideal me? So I think what is meant to be said is thinking as the ideal. So
I think that's still like that's still works.
Yeah,
I think came across the wrong way. So like the old version of you might have sort of like cowered away from a situation and gone, oh, I'm sorry for something that you didn't want to apologize for. Whereas like the new version that you want to be is somebody who is strong and like dependent and dependable and like will stand up for themselves, sort of thing. So for that example, before you might have just not really responded and gone, oh, okay, but what the like new version wouldn't be, if you were still that shy kind of like person that wasn't really gonna stand up for themselves, you might have been like, oh, they are my person kind of thing. But it's saying to really put yourself into it and the way that you would like to carry yourself and be like, that is my person kind of thing, like strong and assertive. I think that's what it's.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what I was hoping to explain, but I didn't explain it very well. So thanks for that. But yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And the way to do that is ask yourself, if I was my desired version, how would I have wanted that event to go, instead of how would I want it to go as I am now? And then revise through that way. Revise whatever that version of yourself would have wanted to experience instead. H says, Matty Sire. So let me make sense. You and Katie know my situation. Past begging and pleading, no contact, a little bit of regret over past. Still, I am getting my ex back. It makes no sense. Matty Sire. So let me make sense. You and Katie know my situation. Past begging and pleading involved, no contact, a little bit of regret over the past. Still, I am getting my ex back. It makes no sense. So I know where you're coming from, as in like the perspective of you getting your person back, still you're getting them back, but I don't understand how how wanting someone or someone better comes from a place of lack. That was the part about your comment that I was confused about, because what?
Oh, okay. No, I think I kind of get it. So I think what he was saying was that if you have the attitude of I will get my person or better, it's because part of you still believes that you are not good enough for your person, that specific person. So I think what he was saying was that it comes from like that lack of self-concept, because you're like, right, well, if I can't, I'm gonna have better, but in your brain you're sat there thinking the next best thing kind of situation, where you're like, oh, I might not be capable of getting my person, I might not be able to get that specific person, but if I keep telling myself that it's going to be him or better, then at least I will get someone. So it's like a lack of self-concept. Although that's not like my opinion of that situation, but I think that's what he was sort of saying by the lack of self-concept.
The principles of that make sense. I can see the if that is the case, I can see the logic behind it. But I would, for me personally, I just see it as if they're going for their person or someone better. They're like, yeah, I love this person, but I know there's better out there for me. So it's either them or someone better, which is coming more from a heightened place of I actually don't need this person, which for me personally would be more of a self-concept thing, as in like a good self-concept thing. Not that anyone who wants their specific person has got a bad self-concept, but I would say that wanting someone or someone better makes it sound like you're more in touch with the idea of I don't really care if I get them or not, which is not you being in need of it. But if that's what you meant from Katie's perspective, then I can, or what Katie explained, then I can understand where you're coming from. Star says, is it normal to not think about manifestation as much anymore? Does it mean my subconscious has been impressed? Quite often, it's a good sign. Yeah, I can't say for sure that it's been impressed because obviously I'm not you. I don't know how much work you've done and all that kind of stuff. It could just be that you're potentially getting bored of it. But quite often, I find that when I don't want to do things as much, I'll still persist anyway. But when I don't want to do things as much, quite often that's when like the big things start coming in because I feel like I'm impressed and you don't want to continue doing something that is already supposed to be here, so to speak. So I'd say it's a good sign. Franyi, apologies if I said that wrong. There's an X in it, so I don't know what the X is meant to be replacing. I have a question. I have found out that my SP is going to an event tomorrow, which I don't want them to go to. Should I affirm that the event is cancelled no matter what? I've been repeating the affirmations. So yeah, you could focus on that if that's what you really want, like i.e. the event has been cancelled, or I'm so happy my SP when I would advise going for what you want instead. So is it because you want your person to go to you? So if that is the case, just as an example, because I'm worried we're going to run out of time and I don't want to spend too much time trying to work out the details. But if it's like a case of like you want your SP to go somewhere else instead or be with you instead of saying the event was cancelled, you could say my SP spent tomorrow night with me, or my SP spent the night with his family or something. You can sort of say where you want them to go instead. If you don't want to do that though, then yes, you can say the event was cancelled.
And if it's that you just don't want them to go, I'd remove the specifics and just be like, they didn't go. They didn't go. They weren't there. And then it can happen in whichever way.
KB says, SP and I are in no contact for 18 days. Stop counting the days. It only makes it worse. If you're counting the days and you're just showing your awareness on the no contact. I have no idea why this happened. I know he loves me so much. I feel it, but I don't know what happened. Oops, I accidentally dropped his call earlier in the AM. Dropped his call in the AM. I'm not 100% sure what that last part means. But so I can't say for sure what happened, obviously, because I wasn't in your mind. But I can definitely say that if you're counting the days of how long you're in no contact, who do people do that? People that are in no contact. So if you want the no contact to end, stop counting the days, start assuming that you guys are in loving communication and everything is amazing, and that's what you'll be given more of. But if you're counting the days, you're only focusing on the no contact even more. Maria says, hi, just want to say your videos helped me a lot in the last week I found you. That's really good. I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for showing up to the stream. Sarah says, thank you. I appreciate it. You're very welcome. H said, guess that's what manifestation is, beyond logic and sense. Yeah, absolutely. KB says, we had no argument. He communicated with me, my 8-year-old daughter, when he knew that I rushed daughter to ER. How to manifest that he communicate? So we had no argument. He communicated with me, with my 8-year-old daughter, when he knew that I rushed daughter to ER. Okay, I read that wrong the first time. Okay, so again, like I said, based on what you said, I can't say for sure why this has happened. But what I can say is if you want it to change going forward, stop focusing on the no contact, because you're just going to keep it in existence if you keep counting the days and wondering why you're not talking. And start telling yourself that you are in loving communication. Start going to the end result, whatever your end result is. Start really focusing on being with this person and allowing all of the middle to be worked out for you. Claim yourself to be in that relationship if that's what you want. Claim yourself to have loving communication if that's what you want. But really focus on what you want instead of the lack of what you want. Carolina says, everyone liked the video, guys. Absolutely, it really helps me out. Thank you very much, Carolina. Tori says, hi, I'm living at the end, and should I talk to my SP as the end result? Should I talk to my SP as the end result? Do you mean like talk to your SP in the 3D? I'm going to answer both just because I don't want to run out of time. So if you mean talk to your SP in the end result, like as in like an inner conversation, then yeah, by all means. If you mean talk to your SP like in the 3D, if it comes up and it doesn't feel forced or anything, by all means talk to them. Try to assume that anything that they say is going to aid you in getting to your end result, instead of thinking like, oh, they spoke to me a bit funny, then maybe that means that they don't love me or something like that. But ultimately, yes, if it's in alignment with your end result or if it feels natural, by all means. If it means you've like reaching out and chasing, I would maybe advise to hold back on that just in case you don't want to be kind of doing it from a fear-based standpoint. Just kind of do all the mental work. The mental work is the most important thing to do. H says, I do believe what happens for good. There is better beyond this, but I do believe that as a conscious manifester, if I affirm my ex or someone better, it is either lack of self-belief in myself or her. That's absolutely fine. I feel like in this situation, we'll have to agree to disagree because I don't personally see that. I can see your perspective, but that's just not my opinion. But fair enough. If that,
I think it definitely does make a lot of sense that you know, there is that side of you that if you don't get that, then you must have been doing something wrong, kind of thing. Like, I understand that kind of logic of, you know, in order, like, if you have the correct self-belief and everything like that, then you will get that exact person. But I think it's very different for those that are not hung up on a specific person and more the feeling that that person gave them. I think a lot of the time, some like people do want just that feeling back more than anything else. And so when you do want just that feeling back, it's nice to realize that there are millions of people who will give you that exact feeling, sort of thing. But yeah.
Absolutely. Glee says, howdy, Matt and Katie. No questions. Just wanted to say I loved our coaching call and looking forward to the next one. You're an amazing coach. Thank you. Anastasia here. Have a great night, you two. Thank you very much, Anastasia, for the kind words. I really appreciate them. And I know I always like to say it, but I remember the people that like say stuff. So I knew it was Anastasia, but thank you for pointing that out just for everyone else for the comment. Don't know why I said that. I like to make it known that I remember people. It's like a little mini flex. It's like, yeah, I remember you based on your YouTube name. But no, thank you very much, Gleese or Anastasia, whichever one you want me to refer to as in here. I really do appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to our next call as well. Emma says, how does conscious manifestation even work when 90% of our thoughts are unconscious and based on our unconscious programming? See, that's what this is all about. So your life is based on unconscious programming, but to make it unconscious, you have to reprogram it by consciously feeding yourself a new story. So manifestation is changing that unconscious programming into something more desired, basically. Dev Kurdia says, how do I overcome the fear of the purge or transition period? Because of that fear, I can't live in the end for some reason. But hello, lovely couples. Howdy, howdy. And the way that you overcome it is to accept it. Because the opposite of fear is courage or bravery. What in this instance would be courageous or brave? Accepting it, facing it head on. When you accept something or you face it head on and you remove its power from you, when you stand up and fight, basically, so to speak, you are removing that fear from the instance. And when you do that, that must mean that the fear has nowhere to go, for example. So great example. No, actually, it's going to be a spoiler, so I can't use that as an example. I was going to reference a film.
Oh yeah.
No, I can't. I think it's a spoiler. But so when you like face your fears and stuff, quite often you remove all the power from it. In this instance, you can't live in the end because you're scared of the transition period or the purge. Now, yes, no one wants to go through the transition period or the purge. However, would you rather brave rocky waters and get your desire, or stay hiding from those rocky waters, but making it very difficult for you to get your desire? More than likely, you would rather go through the rocky waters because you're going to get your desire. So stand up and face those rocky waters, except you may experience the purge or the transition period, but you know that on the other side of it, you'll get your person and everything will be okay. Once you come from a place of acceptance, you are removing your power from the fear and all of the negatives, and therefore removing their power to create.
I think as well, you do need to remind yourself that it's not always bad. Like, it's not always a horrible...
The purge and transition period are meant to reference the idea that shit gets worse before it gets better.
Yeah, but like for everybody that doesn't happen. What I'm saying is it might not even happen.
Oh, yeah.
So like you can fear it, but it's just wasting your time, because the more you fear it, the more likely you are to create it and the more likely you are to experience it. Not everybody's like from A to B is bad. Not everybody has a purge in the middle. Not everybody has like anything bad pop up. So I think that, yeah, it's better to, like he said, face it, but also remind yourself that that it doesn't have to be bad. Like, it doesn't have to get worse in order to get better. For a lot of people, it doesn't. For some people, it does. And like, I've experienced it myself, where actually something really horrific had to happen. But then on the other side of it, I got exactly what I wanted. And yeah, it's shitty, but I now get to carry on, like, sort of thing, and I have exactly what I wanted. But then I'd probably only say like 1 out of 10 for me has had any kind of like purge or bad experience that's like attached to it.
Yeah, so hopefully that helps. H says, Matt, off lately, morality of manifesting my ex back just for relationship or to see it one day at time basis is bothering me. Is this okay? So I feel, obviously, I know we spoke about this the other day. So you mean the morality of whether you should manifest the relationship or just so I know what you mean based on the comment. Basically, for the comment is, because I don't think that was worded in a way that other people don't understand. Basically, there's a confusion or a moral problem where this person is worried about if they're doing the wrong thing by wanting to manifest a person to see where it goes, as opposed to being 100% sure of the end result is what they want, is essentially what they're trying to get at. Again, this is kind of one of those things where you want what you want, and there's no reason why you should feel bad about it. There's no reason why it would be immoral. Most people that don't know about conscious manifestation often get in relationships to see where it goes. Then 90% of the time, people don't get into a relationship under the basis of it's do or die with this person. They'd like to think so, but quite quickly people jump. So if people can break up with people, then there's no reason why you should go into a relationship feeling immoral because you're not there for a guaranteed 100% of the time. You know, you want what you want, that's perfectly fine. H says, Dev, nice to see you. Dev says, howdy H, good to see you too. Marta says, but like when you feel fear, can you change your thoughts and correct them instantly without it manifesting? Because in the beginning, it's logical to have these thoughts. I tried to correct them saying, no, the reality I choose to live in is. So yeah, so you can flip them. When you don't give them power, whether you choose to flip them or just let them pass, if you don't give thoughts power, they don't have the power to manifest. So yes, obviously, if you over associate with them, you are giving them that power to do so, but simply redirecting focus to something you want to experience instead, or removing your awareness from those thoughts entirely is going to be more beneficial for you. Obviously, like you said, no, the reality I choose to live in is, and like flipping it, that's perfectly fine. Just stop worrying about the negative thought itself. Stop worrying about the things that you don't want to experience and start focusing what it is that you actually want to experience, and you will eventually begin to only experience the things you want. Dev says, my SP told me that she went on a date and she kissed the guy, but then they never talked after that. And she said, I only see you as a friend. What's worse, she said she likes him, but doesn't see a future with him. What triggered me is that she said she liked the moment when they kissed because it was a long time since she'd never kissed someone, and that broke my heart. I never thought of a third party. I was living in the end. Why did it happen? What should I do, Matt? Okay, so quite often we attract the things that we fear. So this whole time while you've been like too scared to move past the transition, live in the end. Hang on a minute. You said that you can't live in the end for some reason. And then you say here that you never thought of the third party I was living in the end. So those obviously already contradict each other, which is fine. We all waver and stuff from time to time. But if within comments of each other, you're already sort of showing contradictions, then obviously it's likely that your thoughts maybe not have been as 100% as you would have liked. And the fears of the transition period could have potentially come in fears of her moving on and stuff. Obviously, I don't know for sure because I've not been in your head. But based on the comment section that the comments that you've given alone, there's already a little bit of inconsistencies. So I would say that this has come as a result of those inconsistencies. Now, that doesn't matter because, like I say all the time, any circumstance, anything that you're told, anything that you think, anything that you've experienced, you've seen, you've smelled, it doesn't matter. Anything negative is all old story that has continued to play out because of your thoughts. Now, remove your awareness from them because it's like dealing with a memory. And there's no point in trying to worry about memories. Obviously if they're negative, then people can revise them and stuff, but if you have memories, that's all they are. They're just memories. They're things that played out in the past, blah blah blah. The 3D is old thoughts. So essentially the 3D is a physical memory, so to speak. So let it go. Let go of anything negative that you see, hear, experience, and focus on what it is that you want. Focus on the end result. Live in that end. Don't worry about the transition period. Don't worry about what she said, what she's done. All of this is based on old thoughts. So start changing your today's thoughts so that your future reality can be based off of old thoughts that you have today and experience a life that you actually want to experience. Nesmo says, I want to be engaged to my SP. Can you give examples of a good end scene? Right now, it's we announce it to his family and I show sister my ring. Is this good enough? That's perfectly fine. You could do that, or you could do like your SP actually proposing to you, but that scene itself is perfectly fine to me, I'd say.
Yeah, that sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially seeing it on your finger and stuff. I think that's good. So we've only got a few more minutes, so I'm going to try and get through as many of these as I can before I have to head off. I love the fact that we have way more viewers now, but I really dislike the fact that I can't get through all of the comments anymore, because I always love getting through every single one, and now I feel bad if I miss people. So I'll try and get through as many as I can.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. Heidi says, hello, I hope you're all okay. Very well, I hope you are too. I'm trying to manifest a relationship with my SP. Currently, we are nothing, and it will be his birthday soon. Should I get him something? I really want to. If you choose to get him something, because I'm not going to say no and then have you doing something you don't want to do, but if you choose to, my recommendation would be to get it for him and then give it to him with no strings attached. Do not expect an outcome. Don't get disappointed if he doesn't act the way that you want him to. Just simply give him the gift and then let it happen. Whatever happens, whether it's good or bad, just let it flow. As for oh, that was your only question. But yeah, so if you're going to do that, try not to be outcome dependent, but then obviously focus on your end result outside of that, of being with them, and just focus on what it is that you want instead. Luck the Awesome says, me and my SP met for the first time, had a great time, really excited. We've been talking for 2 years. She was in another country, that's why so long. We built up well, lots of interest when we talked, etc. And when we met then 2 days later, suddenly she said it in a boiled down term that everything the opposite. We don't have interest, not man for her. We were only friends, etc. I'm currently in no contact as she thinks. As she thinks I should forget about her. That's why it feels like a nightmare. So yeah, it does seem like the circumstances isn't very fun by all means, and I can see why obviously things aren't, you're not too happy with it. However, again, like I've sort of referenced a few times now, and I know obviously I have to repeat myself over and over because everyone has different questions and stuff, so it's not a problem. But all of the stuff that she's done and said are all negatives that you don't need to be concerning yourself with. In your end result, you will be in that relationship with her. I'm assuming that's your end result. In your end result, you'll be in that relationship with her. And she wouldn't be saying these things. She would see that you are the man for her, and that she loves the fact that you're with her instead of telling you to forget her and all of that kind of stuff. So because of this, you should not be placing your focus or awareness on the things that she's saying now that don't align with that. Let go of all of the negatives. Sit with the feelings if you have to be able to release them, but simply let go of it all and redirect your focus back to, yes, we're together. Yes, everything is amazing. We love each other. She says all of these amazing things, whatever it is that is in your end result. That's how you will manifest that desired reality. And if you focus less on what you don't want, you will receive less of what you don't want. We have had a lovely $10 donation from Nesmo saying, thank you so much. You are very welcome, Nesmo. Thank you so much for the donation. I really, really appreciate it. It means a lot. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes. I'm going to do 3 more minutes worth of responses.
I was just going to say as well, I think that somebody has just replied to the question you read out at the bottom with actually quite good advice, that they noticed that their SP was reflecting their own self-doubts and fear of commitment. So like there's a comment down there that you should read. Basically.
Okay, so Yamala says, in my case, I've noticed that my SP was reflecting my own self-doubts and fear of commitment. I reacted because we had an argument, because I want commitment. We still talk and see each other. So I don't know who you're responding to, but my assumption is that you are responding to, I have to get back to where I was, Luck the Awesome, about like why maybe it happened out of nowhere, which it's quite likely, the fears of it not coming out. If it's not that person, then apologies if I fucked it up. But yeah, it is quite often that when you have those fears of, when you have those fears of self-doubt and fear of commitment and stuff like that, it is quite often that is reflected outward in front of you as well.
Sorry, what I meant was that Luck the Awesome should go down and read the comment.
Oh, I thought you meant me. Oh.
No, what I was trying to say, because we're not going to get to the very bottom comments, I don't think, unfortunately, but I just wanted to point it out to Luck the Awesome.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, apologies for interrupting the stream.
It's fine. Okay, I have to find where we were. Never thought of it. Why did it happen? Okay, so Dark Chris 73 says the 3D realm is hard to get past. Social media and such cause you because you want to see your SP. What's the best way to deal with anxieties of the bad things? So, like I said earlier, sitting with them or allowing them to pass and facing them. Essentially, they're all very much the same thing, kind of. So sitting with them and like accepting them is basically just being aware that you have those fears and to remind yourself that it's okay and to face them. And letting them pass is going, okay, I feel bad, but this doesn't matter because whatever reason, and then allowing it to pass. So it's not that you have to avoid, it's not that you have to ignore, it's not that you have to fight. If you have these negative things come up, you can sit with them and allow them to pass. It will be okay if it's going to then allow you to focus on the end result. The only reason why coaches such as myself and many others say don't spiral is purely because it's not sit with it and then dwell on it and then tell yourself you can't get it because of this negative thought and then like panic about it and all of this. That's when it's a bad thing. But sitting with it to release those emotions, to feel what you feel so that you can let them out, that's perfectly fine because it's then going to allow you to move forward. So in your case where how to deal with the anxieties of the bad things, when you feel those anxieties, allow it to pass. Allow the feelings to pass and sit with it if you need to let them pass. Then once they've gone, that's when you can then go back to your end result.
And just remind yourself that even if you see those things, they are just a reflection of the old story.
And then Victy3002 player says, hi guys, I'm changing my current thoughts in bracket story and manifesting my dream life. So basically I'm listening to subliminals on my classes on the way to uni. I'm affirming I manifest instantly or in 24 hours. If that feels like it works good for you, then by all means keep at it. And I'm glad to hear as well, Victory, that you've come here with, and then you say, I believe that my dreams will come true because I said so. And that's that. I'll update my manifestation successes or I'll have if I'll have any until next week. So I think it's really good that you've come here with a different mindset to the past few streams. Obviously, I know we've had very similar questions over the past few. And I think that whether or not you've still got those concerns in your own life, you're at least coming here with a new sense of speech and stuff and thinking. So I think that's really good. So I think that shows growth and I'm quite happy to hear it. So you're going to get all the successes in the world. And I am very much excited to hear so we've come to the hour and 5 minute mark. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to head off now. If any of you have any burning questions, once the stream gets like posted live, comment them there and I'll answer them. Or you can drop me an email and at mindoverthismatrix.com, mindoverthismatrix@gmail.com, sorry, and I'll answer your questions quickly there. But yeah, I really apologies that I can't answer all of them, but I hope this stream's been helpful for everyone. And I think we're going to have to start doing members only lives as well, because I don't think there's actually been any members in this one though, actually, now that I've mentioned it. I don't think I've seen any of the symbols, which is
strange.
Yeah. So I don't know, maybe we'll see. But yeah, I hope you all have a good rest of your day. Apologies I couldn't answer anyone, but like I said, if you do have your question, post it. If anyone needs any of my help, there is a waiting list for the emails, but the video calls all open for people.
I think just to clarify, we will be doing normal lives as well.
Oh yeah, we're not just going to
it's not just be like, oh, bye guys.
Yeah.
No, we'll still carry on with normal lives, but it will just be a couple of members only lives here and there kind of thing, so that we can actually get through all of the questions, because we go upstairs afterwards and we're like, because we feel bad that we didn't get through you all. And yeah, it's a bit sad.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, I hope you all have a good rest of your day and I'll catch you later. Bye.